If you've ever felt stuck living a story that isn't yours, then today's episode is going to wake you up. It's going to have you reclaiming your narrative. And ultimately, it's going to have you discovering what's possible when you choose yourself. Today's inspiration comes from Yvonne Trost, a girl who grew up in the cornfields, thinking her life was going to stay small forever. Until, of course, the day came when life beckoned her to break free. Breaking free, that's what it's all about, my friend. That's what I want for you. And today, when you listen to Yvonne share her powerful story of stepping into her own, embracing her own authentic self, chasing the life that she wants, not a life that she thought she was supposed to live, or maybe a life dictated by others' expectations or others' dreams. No, but a life truly designed for her and her alone. My friend, you will be empowered to do the same in your own life. This is all inside of today's episode, which is episode 381 of Grit, Grace, and Inspiration. I'm your host, Kevin Lowe. It is my pleasure, as always, to have you here with me for yet another powerful interview here on the podcast. I hope you enjoy.
I got grit, grace, and inspiration on my mind. No matter the storms that rise, I won't be left behind. I'm stepping out in faith, cause I'm perfectly designed. I got grit, grace, and inspiration on my mind.
What is up, my friend, and welcome back into the podcast. I am so excited today because I get to introduce you to none other than Yvonne Trost. Yvonne, it is a pleasure to have you here. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Kevin. I'm excited to be here and share this energy with you.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I am ready for it. I am so excited to get to dive into your story. And obviously, if you're going to start the story, you might as well start at the beginning. And so I know that you grew up in amongst the cornfields. And
literally, yes.
yes. And so I would love to know about that childhood, because that sounds either really exciting or really boring. But
Probably a little bit of both. Yeah. So I grew up in a town, but I technically think it is classified as a village because it was only 2,400 people. And I lived on the edge of town, like literally the last street that was considered the town. And across the street were cornfields and cows. I'm not even making it up. So yeah, I was quite close, to nature in that way. I would say it was, gosh, not only is it different because of the size and the location, but life has just changed so much since I was a kid.
yeah.
Kind of make me sound really, really old. But if anybody asks you, I'm 29.
Yes, absolutely.
There wasn't really access to the internet as it exists today. The only time I touched a computer was my dad's Apple IIc, I think, to play like an ICBM game with a little joystick, the original,
Yep.
and keyboarding class in high school. That was it. So not only was it a small town in the middle of cornfields, but it was just a time where you weren't exposed to much other than the people that you surrounded yourself with, right? And they weren't exposed to much except for what they knew growing up, which is even less than what you knew in the sense of, things outside of their immediate world.
Yes.
And so, I wasn't sheltered in the way that people might think of that word now. Like my mom basically said, be home before dinner time. And I went out running around. So it wasn't like sheltering like the helicopter parents that we have now, but it was sheltered from just the world and diversity and culture and an awareness of like how your mind, body, and spirit work. They didn't teach that in my school, and they didn't teach it at church either, really. It was all about compliance and rule following and fear and judgment. So I see all that now, but back then, and if you're listening and you're like, yeah, that sounds like something I am familiar with, you only know what you know, and it becomes normalized. And so I actually didn't realize until, later, much later in life, like in the last couple of years, how that created limiting beliefs in my mind about who I am and what I can be and what's available to me in my life. So I just tell people all the time, you don't have to have a big T trauma, meaning physical abuse, sexual abuse, physical trauma. Kevin, you've experienced, losing your sight. Like that's big T trauma. I didn't have big T trauma, but you can have what I call little T trauma, just like not knowing what you don't know, or getting grounded if you don't get straight A's, or not being enough because you're not like your friend that's getting the good grades, or, starring on the soccer team or whatever team it is. So I just want anybody that's listening to just first step back and open your mind and think about, how might I be able to break free of limiting beliefs that I don't even know I have? Because guys, this is exciting. This is an opportunity for growth and more joy and happiness and excitement in your life. So, any questions you have, Kevin, I am happy to answer, because that's now my mission, is to help people just like wake up as much as possible out of the social trance that they unknowingly are finding themselves in.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm excited to get to that, but I'm even more excited, honestly. You just told us you're this girl from this village in, in, in amongst the cornfields and the cattle. And yet now you just bust out a little hint as to what is to come about the amazing knowledge and insight that you've gained. And so I want to fill in those gaps. And
That's great.
so first and foremost, as you kind of grew older, teenage years, high school and stuff, were you somebody who felt like you would end up wanting to get out of there and experience the world? Or were you somebody who thought you would live here forever?
It's very interesting. Again, a little bit of both. I thought I wanted to get out of town, out of the village, but at the same time, I didn't believe it was possible to get very far out. So, again, I didn't know much about different colleges. When I'm filling out my college application, I'm like, Mom, do I select business or arts and sciences? And she's like, oh no, business. You got to make money. So I'm like, okay, check that box. And I looked at schools in the Midwest. Maybe I went as far as Creighton because I thought maybe I'd be a lawyer. I was looking at pre-law scholars programs. But going to college, Kevin, in my mind, I thought I would never leave the country, because I thought
Yes.
that's what really wealthy people did. And I wasn't a wealthy person, and that didn't know anybody that had done that. Like, I had never even been on a plane. The first plane I got on, I jumped out of skydiving as a freshman in college. But that's another story. So it wasn't until I went to college and my roommate's like, oh, are you going to go to Spain? I'm like, why would I go to Spain? She's like, well, we have a campus over there and we can go our sophomore year. And it took her like helping me see and opening my mind to possibility that I could really actually branch out further. So again, it's what you're surrounded by and who you know and what you're being told. Like, we're constantly being conditioned unknowingly and giving away possibility, giving away
Yes.
opportunity, because we're not seeking it out. We're stuck in survival mode versus in exploration and thriving mode. And so it wasn't until I actually got out of the village that I really saw how far I could go. And even then, I got out of the country and I traveled and I got that bug and I opened my mind up further a little bit there. But then I thought, oh, now I'm getting old. I keep getting asked, when am I going to get married? When am I going to have a house? When am I going to have the kids? I got to get those boxes checked. Clock is ticking. And so I went back into survival mode and doing what others thought I should do. And check, got the husband, check, got the house, check, got the kids, check, got the good job. But I still felt empty. Like I wasn't enough. My life wasn't enough and unsatisfied. But I thought everyone around me kind of seems that way too. So again, I just thought that's normal because that's what I see.
Yeah. Now, at that kind of chapter of your life of checking these boxes, how long later after college would that happen?
I was a really good box checker and ladder climber. So I'm a recovering perfectionist and planner and control freak. So I was really good at that. Got the early promotion. In less than 5 years, I made it to manager, and that was supposed to take 5 years. And then I would say it was probably 7. Let me see. I should know this. It was 8 years after college that I checked the marriage box. And then 9 years, I checked the first kiddo box. And then I was in that marriage and had a second kid, and I was not happy, but I thought, my parents fight all the time. This is normal, right? So I guess this is normal, and I just make it work. That's what I was taught until it didn't work, until the big
Yeah.
T trauma kind of actually started. And I thought, oh, this is nothing. It's okay to be called all those names and to be threatened to be hit, and I can handle it. I've been taught how to handle it, and I got to do this for the kids, and it's better, and blah, 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 all the cliche stuff. It wasn't better for the kids. And it's when
Yeah.
I almost did get hit, and my 7-year-old said, Mommy, can you get me a new daddy? That I'm like, whoa, wake up, wake up.
Wow.
And that's when I started to figure out, how do I get out of this? And a friend of mine introduced me to yoga, and from yoga came meditation, and from meditation came manifesting. And manifesting, that whole process, after I was married for about 10 years. And then I've been on this journey of like continual growth and new lessons in life. And about 10 years, now it's been 10 years after my divorce. And what I would say is the biggest growth came a couple years ago. I'd say there's been a lot of growth all the way, but the most rapid or quantum leap, if you will, was when I discovered hypnotherapy. And I thought my life was pretty good. I'm confident. I love myself, I thought, and it's all good. I'll just figure it out. And it wasn't until I started leveraging hypnotherapy, just helping a friend out who was getting certified, who's now my partner in life and partner in business, that I was like, oh my God, I've been living somebody else's life, living from somebody else's fear for 25 years in my career. So even longer, right? Since birth.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because my parents didn't love me. It was because they loved me that they had that fear for me, that they gave me, right? Because that's all they knew, because they grew up very poor. And so what I would say is like, love can be so well intentioned, and sometimes it still isn't enough. And that's okay, because we're all growing. And so now that's why I'm on this mission to help people break that generational curse of unawareness, if you will, right? Of
Yep.
well-intentioned love, or perhaps the lack of love, depending upon your story, to see that there's so much more for you. I didn't believe it. I had to experience it. I had to go through some tough times. I had to go through some lengthy lessons. And now I found a way that you can like cut that time, like from like decades to hours, to wake up and get that awareness, and then to start helping you take action to rewrite the meaning you gave your past, to rewrite what you think is available to you in the present, and to imagine and manifest and attract what you want to be possible in the future.
Wow.
It's-
Wow.
I know, it's amazing. I love it. I wake up every day, guys, excited versus thinking like, oh God, I got to go sit in a cubicle and go to meetings all day and schedule time to go to the bathroom between the meetings. Like,
Yeah. Well, so I'm curious. So what profession did you end up getting into after college?
well, so that's also interesting. I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. My test told me I should be a social worker. Well, you take this little test
Yep.
in high school, but then I thought, well, my passion for helping people would die with college debt and ramen noodles. So, and this was when the ramen noodles were 25 cents a pack, not the fancy ramen noodle restaurants you go to now. This is not This is not ramen heaven or whatever the restaurants are called. And so I took my mom's advice. I went into business and I thought, oh, I'm good at math. I've always been good at math. My sister's an accountant. I'll be an accountant. My accounting professor's like, no, don't do that. Eventually your friends won't even want to talk to you. You'll be so boring. So I went into finance. Oh, and then I interned at a brokerage firm and it was like a sales job, like cutthroat. You're not on a team. You're trying to peddle these things from New York. And I interned at a bank and somebody had to die or retire for you to get an opportunity. And back then it was typically an older white man. It wasn't going to be me. And I thought, well, I don't want to do any of this. And so that's when I went to a job fair, and Accenture is the name of the company I used to work for now, but it was Anderson Consulting at the time. And you just go and you help. They teach you how to code and consult in IT, and you help different industries. And I thought, oh, well, I can do that. And then I'll work in a couple industries over the next couple of years and then figure out what I want to be. In about 2 years, I'll make a decision. And it took me 25 years later and the universe knocking me over the head with a lot of lessons, a lot of opportunities to say, hey, you're meant to do something else.
Yeah.
And now I'm a happiness
Wow.
coach and a hypnotherapist, and I love it.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. And as if none of us can tell that you're excited about what you do. I mean,
Yeah,
you
it's the
know.
real thing. It's the real thing.
Well, before we get into the career, let me go back a few steps, because you said that when you went away to college, that you had somebody ask you if you were going to be going to Spain. So did you end up taking that trip your sophomore year?
Yeah, I told her she was going to go for the year as my roommate. I said, I'm only going to go for a semester. And she's like, okay, whatever. I'm going for a year. And it wasn't an easy thing because I didn't speak Spanish. And our campus is in Madrid. And Madrileños don't let you plant your American flag. Even if they speak English, you're going to learn Spanish and their type of Spanish. And that was the best thing for me because I have to depend upon other people and I have to ask for help, which I never really did. I was taught you figure it out on your own. You handle it on your
Yes.
own. So that was a good thing that I actually just thought about just now. And then I ended up staying for the year with them. And then I thought to myself, wow, it's such a shift here. I can either go back home and I can order a beer and ask for where the bathroom is in Spanish. And that's about it. Or I can come back and really start learning the language even deeper, like I'd started to, right? I knew more than what I just said, but not that much more.
Yeah.
And so I came home for the summer, back to the cornfields, and I had an internship and I saw my family. That was the longest I'd ever not seen them. And back then there were no like $10 a day cell phone plans for international. So you wrote letters. And when you did talk, you made it brief because it was costing quite a bit of money. So I hadn't seen them for a long time. And then I actually, Kevin, went back by myself.
Oh, wow.
And it was the coolest thing because I went from thinking I'll never leave the country in my life to going back to a place that I was like, oh my God, this feels like home. I knew where the flower vendors were. I knew like the path. I even know like where some of the homeless, like I recognized. It was just so wild to, in less than a year, go from thinking you would never leave your country to feeling like another country is now also home.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was by myself. And so rather than usually when people go over there, you travel every single weekend, going to different countries and stuff. I didn't do any of that because I'd already done all that. I just lived there.
Yeah.
And that was amazing. And I hope someday that my goal is someday I get to live in a bunch of different countries, but like I go to a country and I like live with the locals and I appreciate the culture and I get to know the people and I build deep connections, and then once 2, 5 years, whatever, we'll see. Then I'd like to go to another country and experience. There's so much richness out there outside of the little world you're living in. There's so much growth and knowledge and connection and energy. Just try something new, meet somebody new. You are powerful and we just don't use all the power within us because we limit ourselves and we keep ourselves small.
Yeah. I mean, speaking to me, who was a travel agent for 7 years, I mean, what you just said was exactly what I tried to portray to every client I worked with the destinations they were going to, about this idea of getting outside of the mainstream resort. and actually getting to experience life in a destination
Yeah.
because you get a whole new appreciation for it.
Absolutely. I try. It's hard. Like if you have that skill, you should definitely figure out how to keep doing that. I would love for it to always feel like doing something with the locals. It's really hard to find all that and feel safe in new countries without like a recommendation or somebody. So I think it's such a gift that if you have, you should give it to people so we don't all keep going to places and doing all the commercial Americanized stuff.
Absolutely. And you know what I mean? To be honest in that regard, I really think the same can be said true for even just a different part of the United States.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
mean, the country is so big, it's so diverse, and and especially now with Airbnb, where you can literally stay in a neighborhood where
Yeah.
you can just so easily fall right into the rhythm of life in that town. And it's a really unique and amazing way to experience the world.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a great point. One of my friends just posted he's in, I think, Chicago, and he's like, Fur Fest in the Midwest. And I'm like, I'm from the Midwest and I didn't even know about Fur Fest. So there always is something new to learn in your own country, too.
Absolutely. That's so funny. Well, so how long would you end up staying in Spain for total?
I was there for 3 semesters. So basically a little over a year and a half. And
Yeah,
it was like, if you're listening and you haven't lived in another country, or if you have kids and you're trying to decide, or maybe in the future, you're going to decide whether or not they study abroad, I highly recommend it. It is life changing. I don't care if you didn't speak the language. Like, luckily, my school had my business classes in English so that I could, take everything else in Spanish. But find a way. It is life changing in such a good way. It breaks open your mind and your heart in ways that you can't in a book or in the same place that you live day to day.
absolutely. Well, switching kind of over to the personal side of life, we talked a little bit career wise. We talked about traveling. Your first husband, who you mentioned, again, one of those boxes you were checking off.
Yeah.
Where did you end up meeting him at?
That actually was a good, like, there's a couple good stories from that marriage. That was that was one of them. I was living in Illinois, moved to DC, but I was working in Ohio, which basically means living there when you're a consultant in IT.
Yes.
And when I left the consulting assignment in Ohio, I started one in Manhattan in New York, the same time I moved to DC.
Okay.
And the only people I knew here were 2 ex-boyfriends. And I thought, that's probably not healthy to keep hanging out with. And so I thought, I'm going to try. I like softball. I like volleyball. I'm going to try and, like, this is back when you had to go to this local newspaper to figure out like what was going on. There were no like apps and meetups and all the stuff. And I saw there was these softball leagues, but they're all during the week. And I'm like, well, I'm not here during the week. I'm only here on the weekends. And so I used to run from my apartment to the Capitol, up and down the mall in DC, not like the shopping mall, the mall with all the Smithsonians. And there was a softball field and there were people playing softball. I'm like, well, I'm just going to stop and ask if this is league play because I couldn't find a league on the weekends. And I stopped and they're like, well, yes, it is. And actually, we're short a girl. Will you play? So we don't have to, because you had to take an out or something ever so often if you don't have enough girls. I'm like, well, I guess I might as well. Right. And so they put me in as catcher and the pitcher wasn't doing so well. And I thought, well, it's kind of weird probably for you to like just randomly pitch to somebody that you don't know. So I just walked out to the pitcher's mound to say hello, forgetting that usually you only approach the pitcher when they're in trouble.
Oh.
But anyway, that was my ex-husband. And from there, he was interested in dating and I was interested in dating, but also had my blinders on because I needed to check that box. And he didn't know what hit him probably because I was very focused on doing that. And I ignored all the red flags and the prior marriage and the angry like his ex-wife, he said he had to go to anger management classes and stuff like that. And I figured that was all her and not him, right? Because I didn't want to see that. But anyway, that's how we met.
Yeah. Wow. Now, how long would you guys end up being together for?
So we dated a little less than a year, and I had this great plan, Kevin. I had this plan that if you lived together, then you would have a better idea of whether or not you should get married. Right?
Yes.
My grandma, God bless her, had been married 5 times. The first 2 unfortunately died for health reasons like cancers. And then the third one was an alcoholic. And then the fourth one was an adulterer. And then the fifth one just wanted a caretaker. She's getting married in her 70s or something. So I thought, and my sister got married quickly and got divorced. And so I thought, I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to live with the guy first, and then I'll know. And that'll improve my chances. But so anyway, we in less than a year living together. And then in less than a year from that, we got married. And then in less than a year from that, we had a kiddo. And then 3 years, 4 months later, we had another kiddo. And then by the time I got the divorce finalized, it was 10 years after our marriage.
Wow.
But the Friday before my due date with my first kiddo is when things started to fall apart because he lost the only job he'd really ever had. And then the stress of job loss and the stress of having a kid, when what I realized is like he was the kid and I was taking care of him. And when I had an actual kid, I needed him to play as an adult. And he didn't know how to do that. But yeah, so I made it work for almost 10 years, probably, just with the blinders on and thinking I had to survive. So if you're listening and you're like, ugh, I feel stuck. I feel stuck in a job. I feel stuck in a marriage. That doesn't mean you have to quit. It doesn't mean you have to get divorced. But what I'm telling you is that you are choosing to be stuck. And that might be hard to hear, but this is the pot calling the kettle black because I did it and I've undone it. And what I'm saying is there are things that you can do for you to figure out like, what might you be doing that's keeping you stuck? Because your subconscious mind, Kevin, comes up with these solutions, right? That are actually it thinks it's a solution, but it's actually the problem. The reason your subconscious mind thinks it's coming up with this great solution is because your subconscious mind, by the time you're 35, is being run 95% by your subconscious programming. And most of that was created before you were 10 years old.
Wow.
So we're more complicated than a rocket ship. Like we're the most advanced thing on the planet. They have not been able to clone a human being that I've been told about. But we're not given the user manual. We're not even given a quick start guide in how we operate. And I'm telling you now, start learning the user guide for you as the human being, because you're running your life unconsciously as a 7 to 10-year-old. When you see, hear, feel something, your subconscious mind calls a program. So for me, my subconscious mind was calling the fear program, the fear of the unknown program. You shouldn't go get another job, or you shouldn't try and improve your marriage. You shouldn't use your voice. You shouldn't communicate because you could make it worse. So my solution is to keep you small, to keep you quiet, or you just, just fight. But it is to keep you right where you're at because at least you're alive. Your subconscious mind's only job is to keep you alive. That's why it was put there. That's why we've survived as a species. It doesn't care if you're happy, sad, successful, thriving, miserable. It doesn't care. All it cares about is you're alive. That's its job. So we have to teach our subconscious mind that we want more than just to be alive. We have to control, and like, you've heard, your mind makes a wonderful servant, but a terrible master. We have to train our mind like, no, you're working for me, not the other way around. And this is what I truly want. This is who I truly am authentically, not who I've been conditioned to think I should be or conditioned to think I should want.
Wow. Fascinating. I'm anxious to dive into that even more, but I'm curious to ask, how did you end up finding the courage to get out of that marriage?
Well, you've heard people change from desperation or inspiration. He came home calling me names and jumping on top of me and saying, "Make me hit you." And his fist was about 2 inches from my face. And I thought, when did I show up on an after school special? This isn't supposed to be happening to me.
Ugh.
And I ran up and I locked myself in my room or the room with my boys. And I called all his family and friends and said, "Do whatever you got to do to get him out of this house because we're not safe."
Yeah. Wow. 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 When did yoga and meditation and quantum physics, when did that enter the picture for you?
Well, finally got him out of the house. It's when my girlfriend said, "You should come to yoga with me." And I'm like, "I hate yoga. There's no endorphins." Like, I'd only been to one class at Bally's, and I don't think that actually really counted as yoga now that I think about it. But I was a runner and a spinner and all the, dopamine, like adrenaline kind of things. And I thought, it is so boring. And she's like, "Just come once. It's free." Well, it wasn't free, number one. They said, like, she's like, "Oh, the first time's free." They're like, "Oh, no, no, no. It's $19." I'm like, $19? And then now it's like, I don't know what it is, like skyrocket out of the pandemic, but it's like you can pay $19 for one, or you can pay $50 for the month and you can yoga all you want. So basically you go 3 times and you got a deal. I thought, well, I'm not going to really like this. I'll just pay the $19, right? Because I'm thinking, oh, I got to figure out how to get separated and buy a new home and all the stuff. And I go in, Kevin, and it is the most amazing experience. The type of yoga I practice is called Baptiste yoga. It is a flow, but it's also heated and there's humidity. And I had this experience. And I think you just have to go and experience it. But when you connect your mind, body, and spirit with your breath, you don't even know what's happening, but you start to connect your energy centers and you start to let go of negative energy and you start to refuel yourself with your life force, your prana, your breath. And so I came out of that class and I'm like, can I change my mind and do the $50 all you can yoga? And then that just was like, that saved me. I mean, it didn't save me. I saved myself, but it helped me in a way that no books, no friends, no family could help me. It helped me connect to me. And so that's what, I help people do too, is connect to themselves. We don't know how to do it. We didn't read the user manual. We didn't get it. And so yoga, there's 8 limbs of yoga. The things you think about, like going to a class, is called asana. That's just one limb of it. Meditation is another limb. So it's about reconnecting. It's about finding the power within. And as I practiced yoga, then I got more interested in meditation. I didn't want to meditate before. I couldn't sit still for 5 minutes. Are you kidding me? I had too many things to do, too many boxes to check. But I started feeling my essence, my inner self. I've started feeling like in a way I've never felt since childhood, feeling free and like inspired and alive. And so I just kept wanting to get more and more into it. And so I got into meditation. And then I thought, well, maybe I should become a yoga teacher. At least, like, won't pay the bills, but I can learn more about yoga because this thing is really helping me. And so I got certified to be a yoga teacher. Someday I will actually teach in a studio. Right now, I just teach in my home studio for my friends for free or online for my tribe, as I call them, if they want it. But then as you delve more into that user manual of the human being, you do figure out what now I named my company with my partner, Brad, Limitless You. You start to realize, oh my God, you feel limitless because there's so much power, so much opportunity you haven't even explored yet.
Mm.
And then that's when I started studying more, learning more about the human being and the user manual. And then that's when I got into manifesting. And then I think I actually manifested my partner into my life, right? And then the hypnotherapy came. And then I just keep going deeper and deeper and deeper into the power of the human being. And I'm naturally led to where I need to go. And it's not because I'm trying to become a verbal expert in something. I believe in experience. I believe that
Yeah.
there's no one right way, right? What works for me might not work for you. But the core of it is the same. There's a golden thread, as I call it. So whether you're studying neuroscience or quantum physics or ancient wisdom, Ayurveda, yoga, whatever it is, you will find common threads about the human being. They might use different words, they might have different practices, but there's some common threads. And so I'm learning about as many of those as possible so that I can offer those to the people that I support, my clients, my community. And we test to see which one resonates, which one works the most, because the core is gold, right? And it's just a matter of which tool handle do you like better? Which one feels more comfortable? And I'll tell you what, a lot of people are like me in the beginning, were like, oh, I hated yoga, I hated meditation. And as I introduce them to it in a gradual way, in a way that fits their particular instance of a human being, they can experience it and choose for themselves. That's the thing I tell everybody, and that's my word, is choose. We forget
Powerful.
we forget we have the choice. We like to give it away. We like to blame other people. You made me do this. You made me mad. I didn't get this, or you got that, and life's unfair, and blah, blah, blah. And you can say all those things, and things can be tough. But I tell you what, if you can get rid of fear, unless you're in mortal danger, if you can get rid of judgment of yourself and others, and if you can get rid of self-pity, then you find your power. And then you create your heaven here on earth right now.
Okay. You just said a lot, but
Kevin, but negates everything you said just before it.
Yes.
So if you're listening, that's a little trick. If you say, I really like this, but I can't, blah, 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 blah. You tell your mind it's not possible for you. So I'm joking with Kevin, but I'm not joking. And if you're listening, catch yourself when you say but, because when your subconscious mind only knows the words you give it and the pictures you make for it. And when you use that word but, you tell your subconscious mind that everything that you said just before it, you can't have, or it's not true.
Wow. Okay. Yvonne, I'm gonna make you pause.
Okay.
Because for me and every other person who's listening in the world who is single, everybody wants to be like, whoa, 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 pause, rewind. You manifested your partner.
Yeah, I did.
Let's hear that story.
Oh, that's a good one too.
And tell us all how to do it in the meantime.
Well, first things first, you don't get what you want, you get what you are.
Ooh.
So if you don't love yourself unconditionally, you're not going to get somebody that loves you unconditionally. If you're not honest with yourself, if you don't trust yourself, if you don't, whatever it is you want, before you can get it from somebody else, you have to give it to yourself. So that's why self-love is so, like, it's so cliche. And my partner first was talking to me about like self-love, and I started learning about boundaries and all this. I'm like, what is this mumbo jumbo woo-woo stuff? But when I experienced it and I started applying it, my analytical self said, oh, this actually works. But I didn't understand it before. So just keep it simple. You can call it self-love. You can call it self-worth. You can call it whatever you want to call it. Look in the mirror. Are you what you want from a companion? And if not, that's step one. And, we'll talk about it later, but you can go figure out if you're what you want. We have a free self-love quiz. unlocklimitlessyou.com/quiz. It's 12 questions. It won't take you more than 5 minutes. Start looking in the mirror. Start getting some insight. Because if you don't believe that you're good enough to be loved unconditionally, you're not going to convince anybody else for very long that you are. So that's the first step. You can do the second step. That's the hard step. It's a curious step. It doesn't have to be hard. It's as hard as you make it. I should watch my own words. The second thing is make your list. Well, actually, that might be the first thing. Do it in parallel. What do you want in a companion? Like, I made my man list. I literally have in my phone on my notes my man list. And I listed out all the things that I wanted in a companion. And I got real curious about why, right? Because you want to know why you want those things, not just those things. And that applies whether you're talking about a companion or something, like anything in life. Always ask yourself, why is that important? We have a a fun little tool. It's also unlocklimitlessyou.com/resources. Getting to the root of it. I want you to get to the root of it. Why do you want what you want? Because you probably don't know. And you probably won't really figure it out until you ask yourself and you keep pulling back the thread. And that's why I put that little tool together at least 7 or 8 times. And then revise your list with clarity. Like these are things you can do on your own. Obviously, hypnosis and hypnotherapy and working with Brad and I help, but you can do these things on your own. You can get started. So, what do you want in a companion? Why do you want it? And are you living it yourself? You have to be a powerful magnet. And the way to attract what you want, Kevin, is know what you want, know why you want it, start being that way. And then the 4th step is believing that it's possible and it's actually already happening. The law, there, I'll simplify it. In quantum physics, to manifest, you not only have to have clarity and know what you want, you have to feel the emotions as if it is already true. Then you're going to put, so your skin is overrated. It actually doesn't hold in your energy. Your words, they're helpful, but people can actually feel your energy. And so if you're living as you want to attract and you believe that you deserve it and it's already real, your energy, your vibrations are going to go through the roof and people are going to feel it. And that's going to strengthen your magnetism. And I know because I did it. But it took some lessons. Like I'm giving you the what do you call it? The Cliff Notes, well, I should just say the ChatGPT version. And I don't even think Cliff Notes, the ChatGPT probably put them out of business.
Exactly.
Oh, I say some things and people are like, what are you talking about?
The age thing. Again, show the age thing.
Remember though, if anybody asks, 29.
Yes, of course.
You know what? I'll forget it. We'll say 32. I'll be fine. 32.
There you go.
I can go into So those are the things. And I'll tell you what, it took me experimenting and learning that. Like I had read it. I'd done the reading. I knew how it worked, but I wasn't embodying it yet. And it took practice. So after my marriage was over, I thought nobody's going to want to date a woman with 2 kids. But I'm happier being alone for the rest of my life than in this marriage. So I really thought I was done. I was just going to raise my kids and go to yoga and meditate. And I thought I'd be alone for the rest of my life. I really thought that, Kevin, because I didn't know anybody that had been divorced and gotten back together with people. So again, it's what you surround yourself and what you believe. A lot of the times until you start waking up, it's just what you see. Okay, I'm going to tell you one thing. I love Dr. Joe Dispenza. And he says, like, if you're having a hard time thinking about how all this energy stuff is real, if you can't see it, if you can't hold it, think about the radio, right? Think about radio waves. You can't see them, but you can hear them, right? You can feel stuff from music, right? It causes changes in your body, most likely. You can turn a little knob and you can tune to a different station and you can get greater clarity in the sound, right?
Yep.
So what I'm learning and what I'm teaching is how to tune you as a human being to the energy where you're your strongest and your most clearest, authentic self so that you can attract people that love you for who you are authentically. You don't want anybody tuning into the Kevin station if they don't like the authentic Kevin. There's billions of people out there. They can go tune into somebody else, right?
Exactly.
It's kind of the explanation that you've heard of that saying. I love it. Your vibe attracts your tribe.
Yes.
We want to tune into your authentic vibe. You want your tribe, not a fake tribe that's there when times are good, but not when times are bad. It's definitely not with your significant other, right? So what I'm telling you is the secret to attracting and manifesting your partner is to become the most genuine, loving, authentic you, because that's the best you that you're going to be. So stop trying to put on masks and certain clothing sizes and whatever else that you think somebody else will want. Figure out what the heck you want and just be it.
Wow. You make that seem, it makes it seem so simple.
It actually is simple. It is like what I'm helping people learn is not rocket science. It's just not what we've been taught. The more you practice what I'm telling you, the more it gets even more simple. And you're like, oh my God, really? I just had to change my thoughts and I can change my life? Yes. Dr. Wayne Dyer was like absolutely 100% correct. You have the power. It is simple. You've just been conditioned to believe it's not.
Mm.
And like, talk about, so I'm manifesting. I still haven't gone through my hypnotherapy. I still haven't gone through my transformation. I attract a man into my life where with like I thought like the guy after my divorce, his name was Ramon, and he's this like knight in shining armor. I thought, oh my God, this mutual friend introduced us. I wasn't even planning on this. My third date, he's taken me to Canada to see the Rolling Stones. He's like, we're doing all these trips. I'm getting all this jewelry. I'm just like, oh my God, I feel like I woke up in a fairy tale that I wasn't looking for.
Mm.
But then once I started to believe that, wow, this isn't possible for me. And then I started like, well, I wanted to combine families, but he, sent mixed signals. And I thought, oh, well, I should just, this is better than anything I ever had. I should just accept whatever he wants. I shouldn't ask for too much. And slowly I started to believe that I wasn't worthy. I should just be happy. I should just make it work. Right? Because I hadn't taught myself yet anything else. So I stayed in that relationship for 7 years. And I won't get into the details of how I thought it was going to be the man of my dreams in my life and we are going to move in and get married and how that all fell apart, but it did. And it wasn't until after that that I hit really rock bottom, Kevin. Like I was more upset from that than my divorce.
Yeah.
This was the first man in my life that had really taken care of me and made me feel like a princess, like smart, wise, strong, but then just started only being there for part of the time. From every day to like down to once a week. And then I wasn't even sure about the once a week part. Right.
Yeah.
And then, so I don't know. I think I was depressed. I'm not sure, but it felt pretty bad. And then that's when I started like a phoenix rising back up. And I started getting more into manifesting and quantum physics and learning more. And I got on these terrible apps. I had never dated before since I've been married. I was introduced. I didn't know about these dating apps. They're the worst thing in the world. I know if you're listening that it's like shopping and you cannot shop on those things. It's like Prime Day deals and you just keep scrolling and swiping. And then before you know it, it's 2 a.m. It's terrible. But anyway, I met Brad on Hinge, but he was too busy. And I thought, oh, I don't want somebody that's too busy for me because I just went through that. We had a lovely, lovely, deep conversation, probably multiple hours, but it didn't work out. And then somebody else swooped in and they're like, oh, I want to focus on you. So I'm like, okay, sorry, Brad. I hope you, have the best, life and blah, blah, blah. Just because I don't date around. Like I
Yes.
date one person. I don't believe it actually can compartmentalize. So if you're out there and you're like, oh, I got to date as many people as possible to find the one, you're never going to find the one that way, I don't think. So to just focus on one person. But anyway, so I said that to him and he's like, okay. And then the lovely thing though, Kevin, was that gentleman wasn't terrible. I just was like, oh, this isn't a match. So for the first time in my life, I didn't make it work. I chose. I was like, I just don't know if we're aligned, if we want the same things. I wish you the best, blah, blah, blah. I'd never done that. I had always worked until the relationship was going up in smoke and I had to have like fire underneath my butt to figure something out. Don't wait until there's fire underneath your butt to get unstuck. And that felt really good. And so I reached back out to Brad and I said, that didn't work out. If you're still interested, blah, blah, blah. I had learned something. I was drawn back to Brad because we had such a lovely conversation. But the universe is like, you still have more learning to do. So it brought in another guy that swooped me off my feet. It was like, I'm ready to focus on you. And Brad was still too busy traveling. And so I told him again, because I think I'm being nice. Remember, I'm from the village. And we say, we do unto others as we want to be done unto still. And so I'm like, well, I don't want to do this ghosting or MIA thing that everybody's doing. I want to tell him, right? Like, oh, I don't date multiple people. This other gentleman wants to focus. I wish you the best again, right? Because I don't want him thinking there's a chance when there's not a chance, right? So I did
exactly.
But he's thinking I'm blowing him off. I kind of find out later. I think I'm doing something nice. So again, it's always, guys, this is another golden nugget. It's never the experience or the other people, anything outside of you that impacts you. It's the meaning you give the experience.
Mm.
Kevin, you and I can have the same exact experience. We could be sitting side by side and we could give it something completely different meaning and it impact us differently.
Yeah.
So what I teach people is how they can choose the impact they want it to have or not to have. And you get back your power versus giving it outside of you. So anyway, I'm choosing, I think I'm being nice. He's choosing, he thinks I'm blowing him off. And the second gentleman didn't work out either. And so then I'm like, you know what? I'm done with this dating apps. These things are terrible. But I'm not done meeting new and interesting people. Like I'm not done making friends. So I thought, let me just reach back out to Brad saying, I'm done dating. I'm getting off the apps. But you want to have coffee? Because I really enjoyed our conversation. And I really just thought, like, let's be friends. He makes me explain the whole thing. He's like, wait a minute. Tell me what all went down. Like he's thinking, this woman, I see her pictures, but she's blowing me off. He's thinking.
Exactly.
And then he says, after I explain it all, he says, I'm not sure. I'm like, okay. I think he waits a day, maybe 2 days. He's like, okay, I'll have coffee with you. And I thought it was just going to be coffee. And it was just coffee. And then he started inviting me to things. And I just kind of kept an open mind and curiosity. The story gets much, much longer, but the whole point is like, you don't get to control the timeline. You don't get to control the steps. You don't get to control the how. What I learned in manifesting is to stay focused on what you want to feel, what you want the experience of life to feel like, what you want your companion and the experience of companionship to feel like. And it's not meant for you to plan it all out and to have all the answers. It's meant for you to be open, compassionate, and curious.
Mm.
Because I remember, like I told you, I was a recovering control freak and planner. And I thought I was pretty good at it. But I was just fooling myself. And if you're a planner and a control freak, or if you feel like you got to chase things, stop. You're not any good at it. It's just a facade. Learn to connect to your authentic self. Figure out what you want to experience in life and in companionship. And then get curious. Be open-minded and feel things. Don't try and rush things. Attract things. Feel, how does this feel to me? Does this feel good? Does this not feel good? We spend so much time numbing out and distracting ourselves, drinking, drugs, binge watching Netflix like I used to. Like we spend all this time trying not to feel. But the feelings are your subconscious mind talking to you. It doesn't speak English. It doesn't have language. It has sensations. So learn to listen to them. And that whole thing about your gut and intuition is real. Let it lead you. Because the thing that you've been running around with leading you, that prefrontal cortex, the thinking mind, the conscious mind, it's only 5% in charge after you're 35 until you do the work and you learn to connect your subconscious with your conscious and let them work for you instead of you working for them. And that's a long
Wow.
answer. Does that answer your question?
Well, of course it answers my question. And I think it's amazing the way in which you see life, the way in which you approach this entire topic, this subject. I think it's really amazing. I think it's really kind of eye-opening. And I want to ask you, though, about one term that you keep saying.
Okay.
I understand yoga, meditation, but you keep saying quantum physics. That sounds like a college class that half of us failed and half of us never signed up for.
So quantum physics is the science basically of, I mean, this isn't you can Google it and I might get this wrong, but think of quantum physics as all the science around how manifesting is actually real, right? So quantum physics believes that every possibility exists out in this quantum field. And it just takes you understanding how to attract it into the current plane of your existence to make it real. It's already out there. You just have to attract it. So quantum physics is like the deep dive into how this isn't just woo-woo, right?
Hmm.
So what quantum physics, what scientists and researchers are proving now yogis and ancient wisdom is known for years. They just didn't have science and data to show people how it was real, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's why I'm saying at the beginning, like, there's a golden thread that goes to, even like Christianity. I mean, it doesn't matter what your faith is. There is a golden thread through all faiths. And I believe, this is just my personal belief, that different faiths are just different ways of saying very similar things. But again, it's based upon conditioning of your environment, where you were in the country, who was there, what the beliefs were, what the culture was. So what quantum physics is doing is it's proving some of these golden threads that have been belief systems. But a lot of people now, their belief systems are weak because there's so much fear. And so they said, okay, let's give you some data. Let's give you some science. Let's give you some hard facts, quote unquote, hard facts, so that you can believe in the power of which the human being has inside of
All right.
it.
Again, I don't even know how to respond to half of the stuff that you say. I'm just like, I'm kind of left in awe. I'm like,
Well, get curious. Get curious.
yeah.
Start researching, start reading. Like, guys, you have so much power you haven't tapped into. Dr. Joe Dispenza, I love him. He's super approachable and accessible in his books. You can learn a lot about it. I would recommend him if you're more interested in kind of the ancient wisdom side of it. The Tao, TAO, and Dr. Wayne Dyer makes the Tao super accessible through his book called Change Your Thoughts and Change Your Life. But you will see, whether you're looking at ancient wisdom or science, modern science, there are powers of golden truth that you have within you. You just don't know. And if you don't believe me and you don't believe them, don't just take it for our word. Try it out. Experiment. See how it works. Give yourself some time to practice. Let me know how it goes. It's exciting.
Absolutely. Well, shifting gears slightly from quantum physics, I want to learn more about you being the subconscious safari guide.
Yeah. I love being a subconscious safari guide. You know, we use several different techniques. Hypnotherapy is one of them. We're certified hypnotherapists, but there's other things, other tools that we use to help you tap into your subconscious mind. And for a lot of people, they think, oh my God, you're going to make me do something strange because they've seen some kind of stage hypnosis. That's it. You're not ever out of control. You're always aware. You're just deeply relaxed. Like, tell people, it's like it's like it's like a safari, right? Your subconscious could be scary. The jungle could be very scary. But if you have a guide, it can be so exciting. It can be so enlightening. You can be safe and still explore things that are unfamiliar to you or that you might have residual fear about. But once you do it, you can see that you don't need to be afraid. You can see that you've learned and you've grown. And so there's different types of hypnotherapy. Ours is I don't tell people the answer. Like, I'm not like, it's not like some people, like, they go to these smoking cessation things and it's like, thou shalt not smoke. I don't know. I've never experienced it, but I'm being dramatic. But it's not about me having the answers and trying to put my answers onto you. What we're doing is we're figuring out what it is you want. A lot of people have a hard time. They know what they don't want, but they don't know what they do want. So we work on that together. We design the safari. What do you want to see? Where do you want to go? What is your magic wish? I always ask people, what's your magic wish? And then even if I know from what you've told me, I have because I've worked with a lot of people now, I've lived a lot of life. Even if I have an idea, number one, human beings are terrible at making assumptions. So even if I have an idea, I know better. It's dangerous also for me to plant my thoughts onto you. So I don't do that. I guide you through your subconscious so that you can find your own answers. You can find your own key to unlock yourself from the emotional prison that you've been putting yourself in unknowingly. If I tell you the answer, number one, I might be wrong, even though a lot of times I'm not. I also am a recovering, always right person. Think about it like this. Like, when you were in school, You had to do I don't know. I had to do a lot of memorizing, right? I had to do a lot of rule following. I don't remember most of that stuff because I was just memorizing what I was told to memorize or what I was told to do. Now, when I do something because I want to do it, or I find it on my own, or I'm a part of the solution, I remember that. So that's the other thing. I don't want you we have 3 steps at Limitless You. The first is to realize with not just your conscious mind, but your subconscious mind. I want you to get that deep awareness. We don't want to stop there though. The second thing is rewrite. So we figure out what it is that you want and why you want it and make sure it's really what you want, the authentic you, and not what you've been conditioned to want. And then the third step is rewrite, because we have to take action with that awareness. We have to experiment. We have to prove to our subconscious mind that we're safe, that we deserve to be more than alive. We deserve to thrive and be happy. And that I need you to want to do. That I need you to be guided by your own intuition. I am your cheerleader. I'm your accountability partner. I'm your subconscious safari guide, but I'm not going to be with you every minute of every step of your whole life. And so I want you to embody it. And that's why I'm the guide. You have everything that you need inside of you. You just don't have a guide. You didn't get this quick start guide for the human being, number one. And now you're like, I don't know what to do. Or you're like, I know what to do, but I can't make myself do it. How many of us have done that? Like, I know I shouldn't eat that, or I know I shouldn't drink that, or I know I shouldn't date this kind of person, or I know I shouldn't talk bad about myself. I just can't stop. Number one, don't say you can't stop because your mind believes you. But number two, you can. You just need a little support. And what we do at Limitless You is we give you the tools, because you can't always change everything outside of you, but you can change inside of you. Remember what I said? It has nothing to do with what's going on outside of you, but the meaning you give it. So we give you the tools so that you can cope in healthy ways with anything that's going on outside of you. And you can make choices so that you start thriving happily versus surviving miserably. Or wherever you're at on the spectrum. Maybe you're happy and you think you're great. Awesome. You can be greater. That's why it's Limitless You. You don't have to have problems to keep growing. Does that make sense?
It does. Of course it does.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad it makes sense.
Yes. Well, Yvonne, if you had maybe 3 action items for the person today who's all in, they're just totally digging what you're saying. They're wanting to dive deeper into themselves. They're wanting to make impact on their life. Do you have maybe like 3 action items that we could give them right now that they could start doing today?
Absolutely. 3 and free. Let's think. 1, you go to unlocklimitlessyou.com/quiz and you learn a little bit about yourself and what opportunities you have to love yourself more. That's easy. Free in 5 minutes. The second is educate yourself. And you don't have to make that hard either. We have a podcast called How to Be Happier for Entrepreneurs. You don't have to be an entrepreneur, but you can listen to our podcast, because what we do is bring people that have knowledge like Brad and I, or have supplementary stuff. That it's all about bringing on people that are bringing value to help people with this whole human being user guide business. So you can learn how to be the best you, right? The authentic you. And you can be inspired by people that have done it. So get some self-awareness with the quiz. Just start exposing yourself to more knowledge about who you are and what's available to you. You can follow us on social media at Limitless You or Unlock Limitless You, or my name, Yvonne Marie Trost. You can go to our podcast. Kevin has great people. Just keep filling your mind with the things that serve you. And then the third thing is ask for help. Know that number one, whatever you're feeling limited by, whether it's like suffering or like you feel like I'm doing great, but I've hit a plateau, you're not alone and you don't have to know it all. And it's not your fault. None of it. You're born perfect, pure of love, light, everything's been conditioned. So get some help getting unconditioned from the things that don't serve you and conditioned for the things that do. So you can use that awareness in step 1. You can use the knowledge you're getting in step 2, and you can put it in action in step 3. So whether you work with myself or my partner, Brad, or somebody else, just get some help. We all need a little help. That's why we're tribal people. So you can book a free call if you want to explore like different things that we have. It's unlocklimitlessyou.com/call. You'll get a free call. We'll look at your self-love quiz. We'll talk about perhaps what's holding you back. I'll give you some ideas. I'm going to give you value right away. And if you want to work with me, I'll tell you about some options. If you don't want to work with me, I'm still going to help you as much as I can, because that's why I changed my life, right? I changed my life to help as many people as I can become their authentic selves, because that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. Yvonne, you have been an absolute pleasure. All the wisdom that you have dropped in for those listening today, all the links, all the resources, everything is in today's show notes for easy access, as well as on the website, gritgraceandinspiration.com. Yvonne, I just want to thank you so much for sharing both your personal story as well as just your amazing knowledge, this wealth of knowledge and in these complex things like meditation, quantum physics, and yet you break it down into such an easy to understand and digest way that it's been really amazing to get to hear it all today.
Excellent. I'm so happy.
Yes, yes. Well, for you listening today, again, check out today's show notes or head on over to the website, grab all of the free resources, the links, the information is all there waiting for you to take today's episode to the next level. Until next time, I'm Kevin Lowe, and this was another episode of Grit, Grace, and Inspiration. I hope you have an amazing day.
I will not fear the storm. My hope's well defined. I walk by faith, not by sight. I won't be resigned, rising higher every day. Oh, doubts left behind, 'cause I got grit, grace, and inspiration on my mind.